So Apple's got a lot of corners with the iPhone 16e.
No MagSafe, no ultra-wideband, bigger bezels, no dynamic island, 60 Hz screen, no always-on display, no cinematic camera mode, single lens camera system, one core less GPU, only 2 colors to choose from, and no millimeter wave 5G.
But wait, you still bought it and you like it?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Namaste, we're DHRME, dudes hawking rad merch enthusiastically. Check out the merch.
All right, let's answer 3 questions. Should you buy a refurbished iPhone 15 Pro or the 16e? Why does this product even make sense for Apple? And who is this product even for? Let's get into it.
3 questions. So I think for the first question, you're a good candidate because you have a 15 Pro, which you've been daily driving, right? And you got the 16e. So I'm going to give it to you, man. What do you think?
Yeah, so exactly. 15 Pro, I've been using it for longer than a year. And actually, when I was using the 16e, I was like, I kind of like it. The thing is, it's just a simpler form. And what I mean by that is it started with ordering the phone. Like, I could only choose 2 colors. Love it. I hate too much choice, right? Too much choice fatigue. So that's where it started. Then I like the fact that it's just one lens. It sits flat on the table. It is lighter. It is 20 grams lighter. Okay. And you kind of feel it because the 3-lens camera system on the 15 Pro makes it a bit top heavy. And we kind of looked it up. It was 20 grams heavier. You kind of notice it a little bit. Again, maybe I'm weak. But yeah. And apart from that, yes, there's no MagSafe. But if I think back to myself and how much MagSafe played a role in my life, not much.
No?
No.
Okay.
I have a lot of Apple products, but MagSafe, not so much. Like, the only thing that I really kind of use is a MagSafe power bank.
Okay.
That was always in my backpack just for if I need it, when I need it. And maybe I use it once a month because I'm usually on top of my charging, routines and stuff like that. So don't really need it. So right now, what's the big deal if I don't have it? I just need a USB Type-C cable.
Okay.
And I can still use the power bank to charge up my phone. Yeah. So not life-changing.
I'm just checking your cap. Oh, that's not an Apple logo. Okay. Sorry.
Then there's the larger bezels, which you, funnily enough, did notice.
Yeah, I looked at it and like, it's got larger bezels.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah. Well, I knew it as a fact, but I didn't really notice it.
For me, it's clearly there's a difference. Again, is it life-changing? It's not. Because I've also had the iPhone 10 in the past, the X. Yeah. Right? And that also had larger bezels. Of course, a bit larger than this, I think, or about the same. But when I moved to the 15 Pro, I could clearly see that the bezels are much smaller. And of course, other than the bezel, you also miss the pill shape on this one.
The dynamic island, man. It's called the dynamic island.
I know Apple wants us to call it that, but it's the pill. Yeah. And of course, the good old notch on the old.
Do you like the dynamic island? Do you use it for anything?
No.
Not really, yeah?
No, I just want a hole punch camera there. But I like Face ID, I must say. That's like easy way to unlock. So I understand why they have it there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think for myself as well, same thing. The only time I find it useful is stopwatches and alarms and timers.
Yeah.
That's all. For the rest, I don't care. Like, all those things that go up into the dynamic island, I'm not looking at it. So,
no.
Yep. No, and like you said, Face ID, huge jump for the SE model.
Oh, really?
Model. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It had fingerprint scanner, right?
Yeah, Touch ID.
The Touch ID, yeah. And it was actually a very good Touch ID. But yeah, it took up such a big chunk of the phone that Face ID is incredible.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, all these phones are kind of parts bins phones, right? So it's like 2 generation old parts is what they use.
Yeah.
But we'll come to that a little bit.
Correct. Wireless charging is supported. A lot of people might be confused. Oh, no MagSafe, that means I can't wirelessly charge. You can. Yeah. It's just that,
the magnets are missing, so it won't align. And it's slower.
And it's slower,
It's 7.5 watts versus, I think, 20 on the latest ones.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, and again, you shouldn't be using wireless charging all too much. It is bad for the battery because it heats up, so...
And you waste a lot of energy, a ton of energy.
Yes, there's a lot of lost energy, yeah. So it's not very efficient. Again, do what you will with that information, but we're not too fussed about it. And the screen, 60 Hz refresh rate.
And?
Yes, I noticed it. Did it bother me? No.
No?
No.
Okay.
When do I notice it? I notice it when I unlock the phone because there's that animation, where it just kind of reveals all the apps and stuff. And when you open and close apps, it has that movement. That's when I kind of notice it because I'm using both phones.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm just using the 16E for a while,
Yeah.
I'm just doing my thing. I forget it. I forget it the moment I pick up the 15 Pro and I do it. I'm like, oh, okay, I notice now.
It sounds like a little bit of an excuse that you're making for Apple, but we'll continue.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Of course it does. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Not everybody's.
But I'm
gonna
not a
notice
gamer
it.
as well, so
Yeah, that's
also
true.
take that into account.
But yeah, Apple is still selling 60 Hz phones in this day and age. But fine, that's another topic.
Especially when you see the other side of the world.
Yes.
Which is, Android is by default, like, what is it?
Yeah, like the mid-rangers all
Like,
are
oh,
120 Hz. So this morning we were talking about this and I asked you, are you going to actually sell your 15 Pro and keep the 16E? And you said, let's save this for the video. So
Yeah.
So are you?
No. One reason, 3 cameras.
One reason, 3 cameras. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did some photos and videos and some samples.
Yeah.
And maybe we can go through that now? Or?
Yeah, let's go through it. Curious what you think. I'll also tell you what I thought of them.
So the iPhone 16e on the left, the 15 Pro on the right. One thing I'm consistently noticing, and we went through these pictures earlier as well, of course, just to kind of prepare. I'm noticing that the 16e is tending warmer.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I can see that even in this picture, which is warm on both lenses.
Yeah.
Of course, if you want good cameras, I mean, very clearly don't go for the 16e, go for the 15 Pro. I think that's obvious. We're not even saying that you should choose the 16e, but we are comparing the main lens of the 16e with the main lens of the 15 Pro.
Correct.
So that's this first picture.
Next one will be a video. And again, something that the 16e does not have is the stabilization that the 15 Pro has.
Yes, and you can kind of see
You
it here.
can kind of see it here.
Yeah, you're not running like crazy.
I'm not, no. I'm
definitely.
walking, but you see it bobbing up and down. Yeah. Again, bunch of cycles that you can rent in Amsterdam and
There's a
other
few.
cities as
There's
well.
a couple.
Yeah.
Now again, I feel like it's warmer. The 16e is definitely warmer. And I kind of don't like the cool tones of the 15 Pro.
Oh, okay.
Do you have some modes on the 15 Pro? No, right? Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Video. Very similar.
Very
I think that's what you said too, right? In this day and age, most phones do pretty
well in daylight.
Yeah.
Daylight is a solved problem.
Yeah,
as I'm
exactly.
concerned. Yeah.
We'll get to the night in a bit. So,
Aw, cute car.
yeah, a bunch of those in Amsterdam. Yeah.
And then we have vegetables. Let's look at some colors there. I'm very interested in checking that out.
At the local Appie.
Yeah.
What do you think? Color-abled person?
Yeah, I'm not... Again, this light, this framing, pretty much...
Similar.
Maybe once we start zooming into pictures, we'll see some difference. But for this, at this level,
Right?
that's fine. Yeah. Here again, you see the sky. I feel like it's definitely leaning warmer, the 16e. It's much bluer, the sky on the 15 Pro.
But again, this is side by side, and we're nitpicking. But otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm not saying like one is better or worse than the other right now.
All right.
Over here.
Night shot.
Here I will say it a little bit. There's a bit of a light trail on the 15 Pro.
Yeah, it
That's
could be
very
a bit of
interesting.
lens
It's a nice
flare, I'm not
picture
sure.
though.
Yeah.
I like the picture. Good job. Man. But yeah, I don't think maybe it's a lens flare, maybe something else. But
Yeah.
that 16e doesn't have that artifacting.
No.
So, yeah.
But the thing is, this is probably the best night shot I was able to take with the 16e, as you'll see.
Okay.
So let's get into some of the others. Right here.
Holy moly.
I present to you Exhibit A.
Okay.
And you might think I messed this up because
Yeah.
I, was shaking or whatever.
Yeah.
I did not. This was like the third try of taking a photo of the sky.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sky, actually.
Yeah.
As you can see on the 15 Pro.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is obviously going to be the weakness of the 16e. Low light,
Low light.
nighttime.
Yeah.
Indoors, stuff like that.
Moving on. Video, creepy video.
This creepy person with the shadow video.
I don't know who that is.
But it's brighter definitely on the 15 Pro. I mean, you can see up ahead here, like the lamppost and stuff like that. It is brighter. Kind of like the artsy vibe on the 16e, I must say. It's a bit darker.
Yeah.
The newer smartphones tend to over brighten everything. I kind of don't like that, but yeah, there is more information on the 15 Pro for sure. All right.
Portrait mode. What do you think?
At this level of zoom, yeah.
It's hard. We can zoom in.
But your face, there is difference, right? Like you can, if I look at your face, like this one, again, the 16e looks a bit warmer. I feel like there's more like yellow tones in your skin.
I agree.
Yeah.
What I also noticed was that it had a bit of trouble identifying what the background was. So as you can see,
there's a portrait mode. Yeah, of course.
This is portrait mode, so it's blurred out a part of my coat here. You see that?
Yeah.
Whereas the 15 Pro didn't have that issue.
Okay.
Hair is kind of similar. It's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's what you generally see a little bit. Same photo.
Oh yeah, the hair is really off in the 16E.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's quite bad compared to the 15 Pro, which ain't great either. But
It ain't great either. Yeah.
But I mean, even part of your face is blurred out. I feel like here, like this part is falling off a bit.
Correct. So I think the identifying what the foreground and the background, it's
not
as
it doesn't
good
have
on-
hardware for it, right? It's just a software.
Yeah.
The 15 Pro does have
Exactly.
hardware.
Yeah. Makes sense. So here again, you see the warmer and the cooler, much better.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of my face, I hope. Oh no, more.
Oh boy.
Selfie lens. Yeah, what do you think?
I think you look a bit blurred on the 16E. Is that me or my eyesight? Or?
Could be the angle.
Yeah. Funnily enough, you're brighter on the 16E in this picture.
Not a whole lot of difference. Here zoomed in. What I do notice is that there's more detail on the 15 Pro
Correct,
on my face.
Yeah, there's a bit more smoothing.
Yeah, there's smoothing indeed on the 16E.
Like a Techniques AZ100 kind of.
Yes, if you know, you know. Yeah, and the background looks similar, so yeah. Oh yeah. This was selfie lens, outdoors. It was dark, only street lighting.
16E is trash.
15 Pro is not that
15
great.
Pro is a little less trash. Both of them. Okay, in the pictures, 15 Pro really kills it.
Yeah.
You can really see how much
Sharper, brighter. Still not fantastic, but
No.
that's what you're going to get from a selfie lens in the dark.
And that face. Yeah.
And that face, yeah.
So
It's not
much-
winning any awards.
Only so much camera looks good.
Yes. We edit, guys. That's what you see here. Cool.
All right, those are the pictures.
So another change in the whole Apple hardware side of the business is the addition of the C1 chip, right, for cellular and Wi-Fi basically connectivity. Instead of using Qualcomm, they've used their own. So interesting move. Did it make any difference in day-to-day use? No.
No, you tested it.
I tested it.
Yeah.
No drop calls, no weird, connectivity hiccups.
The Verge also
works.
tested it, I think.
They did.
Check out this video.
They were in the middle of Times Square and really tested it. So check out that one.
Okay, so why does this make sense for Apple? Was the second question we're going to look at very briefly. And this is not the first time Apple is releasing a low-cost phone, right? Like we've lived through quite a few. We lived through the 5C.
Yeah.
It was more than 10 years ago at this point.
Colorful. Yeah.
2013. That was $549. 10 years ago.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
that it was that expensive that long ago. Yeah.
The iPhone SE
Yeah.
in 2016, and there's been generations of that. There's been the iPhone XR that came on later. And then there was the iPhone 16e. So what Apple tends to do is take 2 or 3 year old parts where the supply chain is completely zinging and it's super cheap, and then they can reuse those parts and make a new phone.
Yeah.
There's also another theory is with upcoming tariffs, maybe parts become more expensive. So Apple is already baking in the price of those increased tariffs in this. So it should actually, I think my biggest complaint with this phone is it's way too expensive, but
That's what the E stands for.
that's what they, nice one. So in that case, I would say that Apple is already protecting themselves for a year maybe, or even more.
Interesting theory.
That's a theory that some people are throwing out there, but
Another one.
I think there's a typical Apple theory as well, right? Like why Apple does this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's thought out. The other one that we've heard is it's a psychological trick to upsell you. So you'll be in the store, be looking at all the products, the lineup. You'll see that 16E misses certain features. And then you get this FOMO. You're like, what if, right? That's how they sell you insurance as well. What if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
Same thing. What if I need MagSafe? What if I need ultra wideband? What if I'm going to notice the bezels? You get the point. And then you're like, okay, well, I could get the next model for a bit more, so I might as well upgrade. And then they sell you, right? Could be. The other,
So your theory, I really like it. So
this next one. Yeah, I think the E, like someone said on Threads, stands for enterprise, because I was thinking that the reason why is there's so many companies out there that give their employees company phones.
Yeah.
And companies aren't going to give you the very best. Maybe smaller companies do, but generally if they're buying a lot of phones, they're trying to give you 2 options, Android, Apple.
Yeah.
And when it's Apple and it's the iPhone, they try to go for
The SE?
the lowest model, the cheapest one. The SE, that's been the choice in the past.
Yeah.
But it's not up to the times anymore,
No.
right? It's a small screen, small battery,
Right.
crappy camera, all of that. And people are used to nicer phones, and that benefit is something that attracts people to companies as well.
Yeah.
So, long story short, they're probably going to buy this because they don't need to spend as much for the normal model, and they don't need to spend as little as the older SE models. Kind of in the sweet spot in the middle. Happy employees at the end of the day. And generally, these are phones that people have as a second phone anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't care about all of these things like bigger bezel, dynamic island, MagSafe. I mean, yeah. So I think for companies, this is a huge, for Apple, companies are going to be a huge cash cow.
Yeah.
And so this will be a huge market share for them with the 16E. But that's a little bit on the business side. But there's the third question that we asked ourselves is,
who's it for?
Who's it for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the theories people also say is like Apple's not doing that great in India, which is a big market, right? China as well. China, but I think they're doing all right. So to get into those markets, they need a lower priced model.
Apple products are expensive in India, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the most expensive in the world. I think Brazil #1 and Apple is India is #2. It's really, really expensive. Yeah. But the funny part is I don't think that story is true. Based on my experience, people have a lot of money. If they want to buy an Apple product, they're going to buy the best one. They're not going to buy the cheapest one.
And that's why it still sells there.
Yeah, and it still sells. Even the Pro Max, still 20-30% more than other countries. People still buy those things. So I don't see why this will help. But anyway, I think that's one of the theories. And then MagSafe.
Yeah.
The big question.
MagSafe. Yeah, I mean, it's been made such a big deal by so many tech reviewers. But in my opinion, I don't think it matters. Because people who are buying this phone probably are not neck deep into the Apple ecosystem. They don't have AirPods, they don't have MacBook maybe, they don't have, MagSafe chargers and MagSafe wallets and AirTags and whatever, all of that stuff. Because if they did, let's be honest, Apple stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
I think they have the money to go, jump up a model and spend the extra 150, 200, whatever, to get the next model.
Fair enough, yeah. I think if you know about MagSafe, you're not the person buying a 16.
No.
So I think
exactly
that's the kind of logic.
Yeah.
And we're thinking of normal people here, not you guys who are watching, tech videos and all the chips and everything.
Exactly. So that's the difference.
Or us for that matter.
Yeah.
So I think, it's if you think about your grandma or you think about, a younger kid who's
exactly.
Stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And that kind of relates also to the fact that a lot of people are shouting, and that's what we started with, is why not buy a refurbed 15 Pro? The whole refurbished market is maybe a little bit unknown and a little bit uncertain for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's people get anxious. It's used phones. What does it mean? And a lot of these people are just probably walking into a store and be like, okay, I need a new phone.
Yeah.
What do I get?
Exactly.
Or their carrier plan is ending and they need to extend it. Okay, what do I pick?
Right.
Well, I've been on iPhone. I like iPhone. I know how it works. I'm going to get an iPhone.
Yeah.
If this is the cheapest,
you
then
get
this
all
is
the
cheapest.
apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get Face ID.
Yeah.
It's
put them too close to each other.
It's transferring stuff to each other. I don't know. Yeah, it makes sense for a certain number of people. It makes business sense as well.
Yeah. Because, if you're not really tech savvy and you buy used product, you're like, how does that process even work? What if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
All of that. You don't want those worries, those hassles, right? As a grandma or grandpa. Or anyone who's not tech savvy. Doesn't have to be grandparents. Maybe you have tech savvy grandparents. Right? So I think as tech reviewers in this tech space, watching YouTube videos, we kind of forget that.
Yeah.
How normal consumers are like.
I agree.
Yeah.
You've not been a normal consumer.
And we've been grandpas. No, we have to do our disclaimer, man.
So that's it, guys. That was a little bit of the 3 questions. Any questions, let us know down below. Thank you so much for watching the video, for commenting, for liking. We bought these phones with our own money. Apple ain't sending us any phones anytime soon, I guess. But we can do that thanks to you guys, our beautiful viewers, subscribers, likers, commenters, and
patrons and YouTube members. Yes. All the way from our popsicle tier, icicle tier, and these lovely tested folks. Thank you very much. And a special thanks goes out to
our Fuckman tier supporters and patrons. So that would be Rachel, let me get this right, Rad's Panda, and Paula. You guys are amazing.
Thank you very much.
You've not been a normal person buying a phone.
We've been DHRME.
Dui.
Dui.